It is that time, the time that I'm excited for. I'm going to welcome Marcus, the CTO again of PageProof. Why don't you just kind of give us a little background on yourself and PageProof and exactly what we're going to be looking at today?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for inviting us on. Today we're looking at the integration between PageProof, which is online proofing, and looking at the touch points with Asana. And I'll also dive a little bit into InDesign and also Figma as well, so we can see how you can put together a comprehensive creative workflow using these tools, and particularly PageProof as well. So a little bit of background on the company. We are a 10-year-old proofing platform and used by companies all over the world. We allow you to take any of your work, regardless of what file type it is, put it through a creative workflow. So what I'm going to do today is actually take you through a mock creation, or at least proofing of a press ad. So we're just going to use a piece of work that's been briefed in by my team into Asana. What we're going to do is actually take that piece of creative that I've made, and I've created it in InDesign, and I've placed it into the Asana task here. So what we're going to do is put this through a proofing process. We're going to then put that into InDesign, look at the edits and the changes, and make those changes live. And then we're going to pop up a new version, look at the version compare, and all along the way, we're going to be popping back into Asana to see all the status updates and how the integration keeps the other members of your team up to date with what it is exactly that's going on in the proofing process, which is a huge benefit to those teams all working collaboratively on any sort of creative work. You can see this here. I've got my little piece of work, and I've dropped in a PDF that I'd like to send out to be reviewed by my team. Now, notice in the center here, there is a PageProof add-on. This is simply being added into this board using the customize. I've gone to apps, found PageProof, added it. I have a PageProof account already set up. So now I get access to this. So I can click into here and I can create a new proof directly from inside of Asana. And when I do that, it pops up this dialog box and says, okay, I'm going to pull over as much information as I can from Asana. So we'll get that in there, and we'll transfer that over to PageProof. So what's going to happen here is it's actually going to create the proof for us over inside of PageProof, and then it's going to update the information directly inside of Asana. So I'm going to say, let's send it over. You notice it's now creating that proof over inside of PageProof, and then this widget appears in your Asana task. You can see that's popped out now and is showing us some information inside of here. You'll also notice that we have the option, and I've got both on, just for effect. Under fields, you'll see that I've got a PageProof status here, and also it's throwing a tag in there as well. Now, the PageProof status is new. That PageProof status is a custom field which can now participate in your rules, in your AI Studio. It can be triggering things, and you'll see as I go through this demo, it actually now means that PageProof has some influence over task position and things inside of here. Now I'm going to send this out by clicking into this widget. It pops us into the proof setup screen in PageProof, which over on the left-hand side, you can think of the screen split in two. Left-hand side is information about the proof. So you'll see deadline and name of the proof and things like that. You can put this into a folder, project folder inside of PageProof if you want. You just click and just add that in. And you'll see here a couple of the superpowers. Number one being the automated reminders. Now, there is a term in creative, which is, part of my job is herding cats, chasing people to look at my work. So this is a deterrent for that. And it's a way of just keeping everybody on task when it comes to your proofing. So you can set up these automated reminders, and it's going to keep people moving along. We've got some options for sharing. And then over on the right-hand side, we have the reviewers. This is the who is going to review the work. And then we've got a checklist, which I'll talk about in a moment. Very simply, with your reviewers, you can add people just by putting in their email address, or if you have a regular cadence back and forward for a particular creative workflow, you can simply save a workflow template and then just choose that template from the menu. These people that you see here in this PageProof workflow, these people do not need to be Asana licensed. So this means you can do your proofing with your customers, with partners, with anyone that you like. So your reviewers are all able to be inside these PageProof workflows. How these workflows work? Well, it's very straightforward and very powerful. It flows sequentially from step to step to step. So in this case, and this is my demo one, it's going to send it to the creative team first. So all three of these people would get access to the proof. They'd get the notifications. They can all leave feedback on the proof and comment and leave replies to each other. Once they've made their decisions and it meets the threshold that we need, it will then move it to the next step of the workflow. So in this case, it'll go to the product team. They can now put their feedback on, leave their decisions. It'll then route it to legal, and then it goes to our final approver. So this just means that you control who sees it and when, and you'll see there's different roles and permissions here, which I'm not going to cover off in the demo due to time, but you can set up different people with different roles and permissions inside of here. So really great. You can have as many stages in the workflow as you like, or everybody in one big workflow step. It doesn't matter too much. Now, people's full-time job when it comes to working in a creative workflow, most of the people here they don't have the job title proofer. It's usually something else, and proofing just happens to be a part of one of the tasks of their day. So a checklist means you can present them with a set of things they need to check. So I've got a bunch of templates here. I'm going to grab this packaging one just so you can see what it looks like. This pops up on screen when the proof opens, and it gives them a guide on what it is they need to do. And it means they can go through and say, okay, I've checked the crop marks. What else do I need to do? Oh, yes, I'll check the copy, etc., etc. So you can create these checklists and then attach those to your proofs. Okay, so I'm going to send this out now. Just click on Send Proof, and that's going to upload the proof into the platform. And if we go back now over and take a look at our tasks, so I'll go back in here, you can see now that we've got a tag on here. The PageProof status on my task is showing, hey, it's in proofing. If I click in, we can see the information in that widget is now inflated with a whole bunch of detail in here. So for your project managers and other people in your team, inside of Asana, they can get a glance without having to go to PageProof. They can see, okay, right, 33% of the reviewers have been invited. We're up to step 1 of 4, and it's with the creative team. Okay, so a good summary here of what's going on in the proofing. Okay, now let's jump in and take a look at the proofing screen. So here we have the PageProof proofing screen. The idea of this is it's super simple for people to use. So we've made it so they don't have to do a big long tutorial, or they don't have to come in and do any sort of video training or anything. They can just come in and we'll take them through a quick walkthrough, which simply says 3 things. Left-hand side of the screen, these are your tools for a review. Content is in the center. And then over on the right-hand side, you can see when you're finished, there's a finished button to make your decision. So that's all you need to know in order to use the platform. As you can see, the checklist has popped up here, and I can go through and check off these items very quickly about what I need to do. So let's take a look very quickly at some of the features. And I'm going to start off by just putting some feedback on here. So you can go over to the red pen tool. I can grab the red pen. It lets you place pins, draw lines, and do a selection. I'm going to select over this icon because the icon being green is not on brand. So the comment pane rolls out from the right-hand side, and I can say, replace this. And I can attach a file into here. I can say, hey, you know what? I actually have the correct piece of media here, and to attach it into the comment, you can put as many attachments in here as you like, and then I'm going to add that comment onto the proof. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to use this Marquis zoom key. We're going to jump in, and I can see this copy is not in great shape. So I'm going to use the highlight pen, and I'm going to highlight over this piece of copy. That's going to put it up into the comment for me, and then I can make the adjustments inside of here. So I can say, you know what, this is what I think should go in place here. So I can go through and do that. Now, make sure I get that right. and add that comment onto the proof. Now, you will notice that inside of the commenting system has, formatting, so you can format this in any way. You can mention other team members and those attachments, as we saw before. And there's even an emoji library here if you really, really feel like that's the way you want to express yourself. You can do that. Grabbing entire blocks of copy, no problem. And in this case, I'm just going to say, let's trim that down a little bit. There was too much copy there, and add that on as well. Now, each one of these comments, there's a reply, and you'll notice that when I type the @ symbol, it shows you a list of people that you can mention as well. So all of that is here for people to use. Next piece, we're looking at the freehand drawing pen. I can say, let's move that over here, for example. And this guy should be smiling a little bit. So let's do that. And I'll just say, make changes here, and add that comment on. Right. Now that I have left my feedback, I'm now finished. I go over to the finished button, and here's where I can make my decision. So in my case, I would say changes, please, and that would submit my decision on the proof. So as far as training goes, it's super simple. Use the red pen, place the feedback on the proof, press the green button. That's all people need to know in order to use PageProof. It's very, very easy for people to use. Now, I'm not going to go into masses of detail, but there's a whole bunch of things here which are really useful for those that want to get into more detail on the proofing screen. So over here, you'll see there's a measurement widget. When you click into this measurement widget, we show you some technical information about the proof. And then we get into some of the aspects like the fonts that are being used in the design. So some of the things you can't see visually, but you can see technically. So I can see, right, we're using the correct fonts in this design. That's a good thing. I can see the color profile because this is going to print. I can see the color profile here. I can also see that it's a 5-color print job. Is that right? I better check that with the task. And then I can see the linked file names in here. So really good to see the information available in this measurement widget, just to give you an idea of the brand elements inside of here. And then I'm really, really curious about some of the other features that are available under the magic tools here. So just give you a quick dance across the top. We've got a ruler tool for measuring elements on the page. There are grid lines here. So if you're used to pulling out grid lines and checking alignment of things, then those things are available inside of here for you to use as well. So grid lines are useful. There is a spell check here. So if you want to check the spelling on your proofs, then PageProof will go through and suggest spelling changes as well. So that's built in. And then lastly, QR codes and barcodes. Now, embarrassingly, people in the office these days, when they get a QR code or a barcode, they hold their phone up to the screen and try and do that. You don't need to do that anymore. There's the magic tools here. You can go to the barcode QR code scanner. It's going to scan and then highlight for you exactly what it sees on your work. You can then hover over. It shows you the unfilled QR code in this particular case. But look, there's options here for QR codes, barcodes, and really, really useful for that sort of thing. What I'm going to do now is send these changes back. So we'll say, let's submit those changes. We would like those back as well. So that's going to be returned back as a set of changes. And if we jump over now back into Asana, you'll see that that has been marked as to-dos requested, and it's moved. It's now in the work in progress column. It's done that automatically based on a rule that says, hey, when this changes, move that over. So I click in here. Again, you can see, right, from a project management point of view, there are 4 changes here. It shows up in the widget. Okay, that's great. I can now assign this to a designer who can then pick up this work and actually make the changes. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Now, in this case, I'm going to jump into InDesign. Inside of here, it's showing us the PageProof panel. So this panel that you see here, this is available for all the Creative Cloud applications. I'm going to demo it to you in InDesign, but it works in Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere Pro for video. We've got that all covered as well. So I can search for that particular proof that we were just looking at. I can click into here. I can do that search. It was at press ads. There they are. And it brings the comments directly into my panel here. So if you remember, we actually went through, these are all the comments that we placed. And if I click onto the comment, what PageProof does is it shows the markup directly on top of the artwork. So I can see this is the best brief in the world. It's now showing me these are the areas that need change. So I can make those changes. And then there's a checkbox here to mark it off as done. So I just say, yes, that's done, and move on to the next one in here. So that's that spelling that we saw. Now with this, and particularly in InDesign, there's a feature here that does text replacement. So rather than copy and paste or retype it, there's a button at the bottom of the panel. You watch the InDesign document, I'll press the button, click, and it makes the spelling change for us automatically, mark it off as done. So this is a really, really quick way to get your changes done. And as I said, I love doing these live. I get in and actually make the changes to the InDesign document. I'm going to click, boom, there's the change made. And in the case of artwork, we go through and we can place attachments directly into here as well. So there's an attachment in this comment. I can go place. It asks me whether to save it into my links folder. It loads the cursor for me, and I can then make that change directly inside of here, mark it as done. So as you can see, we're going through and very quickly making the changes inside of this artwork. Now, to upload a new version, simply click on the dots here, go upload new version. It's then going to put a new version directly up into PageProof. So we're going back to that proof setup screen for version 2 of the proof. So this is the second round. It automatically takes me to the right place, shows me the workflow. I can make adjustments to the workflow if I need to right now, or change who's participating, maybe change the checklist. So I get to go through the setup again. And then from here, I can simply upload this proof directly back into PageProof. That's going to update all the information across Asana. And again, so the team can now go through. So if I click on upload new version, that's going to pop a new version out for our team to take a look at. And if I look back inside of Asana, we can see now that has switched over to new proof, and it's now back in proofing. So we can see a new version here, and the information showing us that it's the second proof of this mess. Okay, so I'm going to click in, quickly show you the compare tools, and then we'll approve the proof. So here we have the second version. We were just looking at this inside of InDesign 30 seconds ago. So here it is inside, ready for our team to place feedback. There is a version pop-up now present here. So I can go and look at version 1 of the proof, take a look at it, and that's all the changes. That's great. But I'd like to see this against the new version. So there's a compare icon right here. Click on compare. That is going to put the two side by side. So now you can see that's what I asked for. That's what I got. If you don't want to do that, just click on Smart Compare, and PageProof is going to show you where the differences are on a pixel level. So it goes through this, showing you where the changes are, and you've got options for changing how that works and how it looks. So you've got that if you need it. But you'll also notice over here, there's a smart check. So the smart check icon is showing up on the screen. And this is where you can see a comparison between the technical information of the two proofs. So in this particular case, I can look down on the right-hand side here and say status, no change. I can see the file name's changed, the size of the file's changed, not too bothered about that, so that's good. And then I can see here color profile. I had it on version 1, but it's not present in version 2. That's a problem. I can check with my print team. If it is a problem, I can ask for the change. Otherwise, I can just proceed. So this is showing us a comparison of the technical information, and then we've got back here that comparison of the visual information. So a slider tool, really useful for just checking those changes. Okay, let's jump back now. I actually think that looks great. I'm very happy with that. So I can just come into here, and I'm able to then switch it back to, I can just say, right, let's approve this. That's now approved. And then when I approve it inside of PageProof, it's going to update the information back inside of Asana. So I'm going to come into here, and you'll now see the task is automatically moved across into the approved column. And if I click into it and scroll down, it's going to show me here is the final approved file. So the final approved file is copied back into Asana, so that now I have the record of everything inside of here. And there's a history down the bottom that's just being added to this task. So that gives you a great example of flowing your work through Asana using PageProof. Now, one thing I want to call out here, we support a wide range of different media types, video workflows. We've got plugins for so many tools, all the Adobe tools. We've got plugins for Canva, Adobe Express, Microsoft Office now has plugins, just like we saw in InDesign. But one I wanted to call out one here was Figma. So we have just released a Figma plugin. So you'll see it looks very familiar. This is built into Figma, and this enables you to send out proofs directly from Figma, get the feedback in PageProof, and then bring that feedback back into Figma. And just like we saw with InDesign, you can see all your changes in one place. So there is an example of another plugin, but it sort of we have a whole range of different things. So supporting all the different workflows from print, video, social, Figma, anything you want to do, PageProof supports it. And all the meantime, it is updating your information inside of Asana. So that's a quick run through. I just wanted to thank the team for allowing the time to go through this demo. So I'll hand back to you.
Thanks so much, Marcus. I love the product, and I know just looking at the list here, like some people are watching and probably thinking, I really need that. Like things that stood out, obviously, the more granular ways to approve. I mean, I think we get to a point in Asana where like you have, proofing and approvals, of course, but the different ways that we can bring them in, we can have internal and external reviewers and approvers. Version control is a huge ask. Like, how do we streamline that? How do we standardize that? We have a smart compare and smart check. Like, there's so many of those things where oftentimes, even when collaborating, we do our best, things do get missed, right? They don't see everything, or we somehow release a version that shouldn't have been released. And so I love that PageProof is thinking about all of the different checks that need to happen in any kind of approval and proofing workflow. So thanks for showing that to us today.
Yeah, no problem. Really, really enjoyed it.
For those of you who still have questions, want to know more, want to understand more about the tool, obviously let us know. If you do want to know more and you want it to be more personalized, like we've been doing with AI Studio demos, we can customize something for your team as well. And so feel free to book a demo with us. Marcus, any last words, any parting thoughts?
What's been really great for us has been looking at the advancements of AI Studio inside of Asana and how we can bring those into our creative workflows and put those together with some of the innovations that we're bringing to market as well. So I think it's a really exciting time. There's a lot of content being created, and these approval workflows are really, really important. So this is really good to show a lot of your team and your customers these sorts of workflows that we're participating in and some of the solutions that are being put out there.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're going to close it out there. Everyone, thanks so much for attending another monthly webinar. If you have any questions or, again, want to book a demo, feel free to let us know. And thanks, as always, for being here with us. We'll see you next month. Bye for now.
Thank you.